Try it again. Check 1, 2, mic check. Ooh, it's working. Only toes. I think I'm using even the wrong one right now. I don't know why it's not updating appropriately. Got to something to do with YouTube. What's going on here? I don't know what's going on this morning. I'm still having problems right now, guys. I don't know what is going on with my, I'm having issues this morning. Let me see here. We'll get right into it here. Hold on 1 second here. Just switch out of it. So I'm still having issues this morning. There were some updates last week with Microsoft, and I was also having network issues. I went down the rabbit hole this morning to find out what's going on my network. I think it's my daughter. I'm not going to lie to you. I think my oldest daughter is. I think she's like watching manga or TV shows in other countries and not telling me. I could be wrong on this, but it may not be her. And I had updates this past week. Microsoft did a bunch of updates because of some craziness going on out there with like they push an update once a week. This week in particular, it like reset a bunch of settings between Streamlabs and my network, my computer or compute that I do. And they don't play well together. Like Streamlabs won't play well with Microsoft. Now this morning I'm still having issues. I had a hard time getting on the stream last night too. My computer will reset my USB video and audio connections with Streamlabs. So I set them up specifically. Like I go into the USBs and reset them to the settings that I want. Because I restream video or recompress video or capture video, compress it into audio, and then I send it out via a series of tubes. Now, I'm still having issues this morning. As a matter of fact, right now I'm having issues with YouTube, and I don't know why. So I got to find out at some point this afternoon. 1 quick second here. Check my volume here. Or my put this back on, see if I can get you on the news squawker. Now this morning, we got to talk about direction for the market. We've got some stuff we have to go over this morning. Just getting back into town. I was out on vacation with some members, community members, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Got back a lot late last night. Had to take care of kids, of course, pick up kids, and then take care of dogs and cats, and make sure everyone's safe and sound. And I'm finding out that my older daughter is testing her oats. She just turned 18 recently, so I kind of get it. A friend of mine this week said that I should be, or he's gotten dumber as his children have gotten older. And it was a piece of advice, right? As a dad, you have to let your kids become adults and give them more freedom and make mistakes and that kind of stuff. So it's more of, it's like new for me. So we're going through this in my house. So I apologize for any delays this morning, and I may have to shut the stream down at some point today so that I can look at YouTube, why YouTube's not doing what it's supposed to be doing with Streamlabs. But we'll get this out of the way so that we'll get the day set up for you, make sure that you're ready to go for the rest of today. And I'll have a brief up for you as well. I've had issues accessing my website, uploading material, all that kind of stuff, depending upon where I'm working at my house. So give me just a few minutes, and we'll talk about where the market should go from here. Now, this morning, or let's talk about, I think we talked about some of this last night. We talked about end of month kind of stuff, like what does OPEX do? What does end of month do? New flows or not new flows for the month of March. And we have some stuff popping up that we need to address here. Now, seasonally and historically, these next 3 days should be positive. We should get a turn to the upside, and dealers have no problem running price higher over the next 3 days. You figure they've got today's session, one more session than they have Monday till about the 3rd. And then they've got the weekend as well. So you've got a lot of theta kill and burn in here for them. They don't mind if price goes higher the next few sessions plus the weekend due to the burn, right? The options will be worthless. It's kind of like letting a bear out, right? You squeeze a bear out, and then they're like, oh, my God, the next 3 days or 2 sessions, or please let me out, please let me out. And I'm going to assume here that bulls are feeling the same way, right? You get the blast down for OPEX, and then they're going to pin the market down here until all those calls are dead, right? Invariably dead, and then price can go higher. So let's take a look at the market, because there are some material changes happening under the surface. We know what CTAs are, COTs, commitment of traders, trend followers. We also know that this is bear season, right? We know that at the end of the last 2 weeks of February are one of the most bearish times of the year. It's like September, October. And sellers want that opportunity, right? They want to get the opportunity to get into the market and hammer it down. If you speak to a bear, you know how they go, right? It's like, no offense to bears out there, but you just want doom all the time, right? So let's get it started in late February, and let's continue down into mid-March. And they'll always say things to you like, well, you know, we want to get it down for the bulls to get a deep discount, but you can never give them enough, right? It's the top. It's never coming back. Recession warnings. We're going to go over that today. I was going to go over it last night, but we're going to go over the Larry Williams. I think it's the Larry Williams, or it's the Wolf Richter true recession warning. We'll take a look at that today from the Fed if we can. But there's some mechanical changes under the surface of the market that's taking place right now with price and what can happen in the month of March. If we're not going to see it in as late April, let's say, and let's say we get the seasonal low in mid-March, what needs to happen to get it early? And what needs to happen is price needs to stay lower. And you need to turn trend followers for buying opportunities to the upside to trend followers to selling opportunities come next week. Does that make sense to you guys? So like flows come in at the beginning of every month, at the beginning of every week, beginning of every quarter. And if we're selling, those flows are not going to come into the market, are they? So if you're a seller, I guess, you want to see the market from now into the first week stay down here, don't you? If you're a buyer, you want to know if we're going to go up for a couple more weeks before we head back down to the depths of hell, right? Are we going to trade higher from like the first week of March to the midweek of March, or second week of March, and then begin our next leg lower? Or do we get bloodbaths from now into middle of March and we're done for our downside? Or is this the top? Right? I'm sure some of you are even asking that question. I think 2 weeks ago I told you that you're going to hear a cacophony of that was the top. Recession is here. Stagflation is here. Recession is here. Stock market crash, doom and gloom. and that noise is only going to grow louder, right? You should be aware of that. You should be prepared for it. And not shockingly, I went onto my Google News yesterday on my phone for the first time in a few days, and sure enough, my whole feed was filled with doom. It was all like, World War III shit. It's all like, the recession indicator is flashing right now, kind of stuff. So we'll take a look at that this morning too. We'll get a look at whatever we can for data, data, trying to give us some insight into next week and what to expect. All right. Trump is expected to sign another Doge-related executive order today. That's from Semaphore. This is old news. I heard some Trump news earlier this morning. A second here. We got Trump on right now. Keir Starmer arriving to meet with Donald Trump in the White House. We're not going to play that at this moment. Hold on. Let me look up some other stuff here. Let's look at Gamma first. See here. Let's look at some Gamma stuff. God, look, my network at my house is pissing me off, man, so much. It's so frustrating. I think I have to get... I was thinking that I might get a second line run into my house. So that's private for myself. I'm like, I am like having waves of remembering my childhood. And I remember when I became a teenager, I thought I was smarter than my dad. I thought I could not get caught doing what I wanted to do. And I don't want to like limit my daughter from access to our home network. But it's like I'm like having waves of like, oh, I remember my dad not letting me do these things, and I became a teenager and I started doing whatever I wanted to do. I'm like, oh God, what my dad had to go through when I was a late teenager, like 16, 17, 18, until I was probably early to mid 20s. And then I had to go back and apologize to my dad for years, into my mid to late 30s. I kept having realizations that I called it terminal uniqueness. I thought I was the first person to do this stuff. I thought I was like, I'm the first person that's this great. My dad's dumb. My mom's dumb. I'm smart. I'm smarter than everybody. And I'll be different than everyone else. And as years and then decades passed, I had to go back and apologize and be like, you know what? I was not listening to you when I should have been at very important parts of my life. I thought I had it, and I didn't. And then when I had kids, I realized how great my father was to me. Like I was like, oh man, my dad was really nice. He was really good to me when I was a kid. I always thought he was an asshole, but he wasn't. He was just trying to prepare me to be a good man, good adult, functioning member of society. This looks pretty good right here, right? This green ball right now looks pretty good for some upside action. Let's take a look quickly for what I have for some expectations here. And then we'll look at the Gamma profile. Let's go to trigger screen right here. So at least for now, and so I've got the 3rd marked up here. This is Monday the 3rd. Let's bring this back to like there's Monday at 9:30 a.m. For cash market. Now I do have some concerns here with I do have some concerns over the weekend here with a possible drop for a new low down here to sweep out this weekly and monthly that we talked about last week. I don't know if we can, or I don't know if we do or don't do that. The only thing that I'm looking at this moment is this upside move right here. So I think you've got your V-shaped recovery down below right here. And I think that you're going to bounce along here into the weekend. we're not required to trade this down here, but I want to show it to you quickly here because we are here, right? We are down here, and the weekly is now making its way higher, which is good to see. And on a positive note, a lot of time has passed, and bears have not gotten the downside move that they want. I want you to take a quick breather here, like a breather, like breathe if you're a market participant, and let's look at price action. We've gone nowhere, have we? Let's look at it. We are in trend, right? We have really gone nowhere. There's a new all-time high right there, right? There's a failure of an all-time high. There's another all-time high right there. And look where we've traded. Invariably nowhere. And to even think that we're going to trade this is still a low probability. We likely continue to stay in this trend here. You can see it. It's fairly easy to see. But if we can scrape down here, and I would like it. I'd like to see it. But I do want you to realize that for all the doom the last 2 weeks, or OPEX in the last 2 weeks of February, there's been no progress to the downside, right? If you're a bear, this is all trend, right? This is all trend for the 2 most bearish weeks of the spring, let's call it, late winter. Not much progress, right? And you didn't even get the volatility to the downside on the weekly. The weekly is now racing higher to meet price, which is supportive to some extent. Let's look. There's some danger here, though, that I want to talk to you about. And this is where I get a little sketched out here, which is on a 30-minute basis, we are starting to see a little bit of creep in negativity. And I want to show you this daily velocity right here. You see this negative right there. I don't know if you can see it right there, but there's a little tick. When we get these little ticks to the downside, we can have these moments of sweeps lower, for lack of a better way to say it. And I'll show you a couple of these. Here's one right here. There's one that started right there. Well, let's take a look at what happened in this instance, okay? For when that took place. I just want to show you that. You get that little bit of recovery, right? A few days of recovery. This looks like maybe from now into the 3rd of March, and then boom, straight down, right? Bloodbath, one more leg. Bam, bam, bam. And we're starting to like show that right now a little bit. There's a little bit of a tell on this right here. So what are you looking for in terms of price action into the beginning of the month would be how high do we go, right? Do we fail to make that new high or any of the prior high or the new high? Because if you do, right, it's just like what we talked about this past week before I went on vacation. I said you're looking for a recovery in like 1 day after OPEX. If you don't see that recovery within 1 day, they're going to take us to the downside. And we didn't get that recovery, did we? We're looking for a 6 session sweep, which we got. Right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this took us all. Let me mute this for a minute.
Voice news disconnected.
So he came down here, right? What do? We broke back higher on Monday, and we failed to take out the prior high, right? The moment that we failed to take out that prior high, which way are we headed? Headed lower, right? Bam, downside. Start checking where the real buyers are. And we're back in that situation again, aren't we? We're down here, right? Slam a step back down. Find where the real buyers are. Now they're saying, oh, no, we're right here, Cap. Real buyers right here, bro. And they're doing it again this morning, right? Oh, real buyers, bro, right here. Well, if you can't get new highs quickly, right? And this is your window between today, let's say tomorrow, March 3rd. if you can't start showing us some big new highs, where are we going to go? We just showed you that daily velocity pointing towards even lower lows, right? So we don't have a lot of time, do we? We've got pretty much today, tomorrow, maybe the weekend to get this bad boy moving, right? Start making some new highs, start taking this one out right here, taking that one out right there, bam, 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 and go higher. It needs to happen. If we don't do that, we're going to get our low middle of month in March, aren't we? Now, it's going to happen early. Now, let's take a look quickly here at a higher frame velocity. Yeah, still haven't taken out that gap. That gap's still here. This gap is still here. We'd like to see those taken out at some point. Give me a second here. Excuse me. I've lost my voice. I want to show you this here too. In this weekly velocity, we're losing momentum. You see that? We talked about this heading into OPEX. Didn't like seeing that. This is showing seasonal weakness already. Daily velo's turning negative. Weekly is on the decline right now. You want to see what that looks like? It gets ugly. It gets pretty nasty when you're starting to lose the weekly down here. If you want to see what that looks like, it gets like that August trade. We're right about here. Remember the August of 23 trade? Or, excuse me, not August, but the it was like late August, early September. Let's take a look at it. Doozy, right? Remember we had that big, huge, giant melt up? And then it's bloodbath, bloodbath, one more downside move in here, right? And we have that right there. And this was October 16th, and then we blooded all the way down. We had an extended September, October last year, right? Remember we had this. Remember how nasty this got here? This is mid-July, right? You've got your move higher into the middle of summer, and then you get your seasonal weakness in the middle of July, right? Start messing around over here, and then we hit the September, October, and it's woo, down, down, down we go. So that's happening again right now. You're looking for your spring seasonal weakness in the marketplace, right? It starts last 2 weeks of February and then lasts possibly to the middle of March, or even the middle of late April, excuse me. So we don't want to be messing with that, do we? We don't want to be, get rid of that right there. You know, you start seeing moves like this down. They start tagging us down. Bam. One more time down here. Bam. Relief rally up at some point, and then boom, new lows, right? We don't want to be caught in the wrong side of that trade as we're losing momentum. You can see it on higher frames. You can see it on a monthly basis. You can see it on a weekly basis. Not so much on quarterly. It's flattening right now on quarterly, but you can see it on a monthly basis. You can see it on a weekly basis. And you can also see it on a daily basis that there is expected weakness. I want you to be aware of that. There is expected weakness from OPEX into possibly as late as the last day of April. Expected weakness. Now, does it have to be like that? No. We can squeeze higher. We have last year we did that in April. We squeezed higher, I believe, for the entire month of March. There was a giant bear trap, but just note that the market does not become supportive usually until late or mid. I would say mid-April for single stocks, and then indexes usually towards the end of April. The only way I would discount that would be if we got major lows now. So if you saw like mid-March. The stock markets, I don't know, trading down here with your limit down 5% Monday bullshit that you all want, and we're like trading 500, 513, 480. Yeah, I'll say okay, it's bottom in mid-March, and we'll start rising from there. But we haven't seen that yet, have we? We haven't seen progress from the bears, have we? Now I want you to think about that. We haven't seen anything abnormal at this point. We're still in trend here. So I guess if you're a bear, I don't know what to say to you. I've got a hedge on too, so if you can get me underneath 585, I start making big money. Anything under 585, I start making big money. And I've got another hedge down to, I believe, 520 and 500. So if we can even get down there, I'll make bank. But, we haven't done that yet. All right, let's go back to a 30-minute basis. Be aware of this price action here. We can't get new highs here. Next few days, whoop, we're going to go straight down to the depths of hell. We're going to explain that for you here in just a minute. So in the bottom right-hand side of our screen here, this is SPX Gamma. I've got this Gamma chart up right here. This is local support. This is the current put wall right here. Slightly lower at 5,800. And if you're a bear and you want to see lows in the month of March, you are looking for price to get down here before March 3rd, 5th, maybe. You'd like to see price underneath here so that you can trigger selling flows, CTAs, COTs, triggering them to hedge at the worst possible moment and trigger selling. You still might get the squeeze the first week of March, and then we would continue the selling down to the downside once we trigger those flows. The one thing that does happen down here is once the put buying is triggered in the dealers don't have to chase, oftentimes you'll see the dealers counter trade that bearishness, and then we'll see the downside move take place into the middle of March. So let's look at something else right now if we can. Give me one quick second here. In one quick second. Now, I'll show you a few things here. So we can get some context for where we are. So we're at 59.41 on SPX. This right here, this gamma bar right here, 59.41, 59.25, 59.35. So we're right about here. I want to show you where we are. We're trading like right here. Trying to push higher and break through this gamma here, right? We don't want to see happen as a failure to get higher and start wham, wham, right? Start knocking out these bars and start making gamma more important lower, right? We don't want to see that right now. So I want you to pay close attention to 59.50. And we're going to look again right over here. And I want you to know that there is resistance right here. You can see right here, like buyers stepping in, push down, push down, push down, push down. If this gamma bar does blow off here into Friday expiry and Monday expiry, this 59.50 right here. If we can get some of this stuff to expire as we get into the weekend, we don't trigger any more put buying, it's possible that we can swing higher and trade as high as 6,100 and even 6,150 and possibly 6,116 again. But we have to wait and see where, price is. Excuse me. Now, we have some fundamental issues, or we have some technical issues with the market right now. Now, we're going to take a look at some other flows here, some CTAs. I don't know if we can get this going here. I might be having some more internet issues. See if we can get some of this stuff to spin up here. There we go. There's Russell. So this is IWM flows. CTAs turning into sellers. You can see it over here on the right-hand side. CTAs for S&P 500. This is not good flows, right? I want to show you this. This is CTAs beginning to turn into sellers. Let me mute this chat here. Turn that off so you, well, maybe I shouldn't mute it, but let me move this out of the way. These are CTAs turning into sellers right now, right? And they're looking for that more downside action, right? You can see them already turning into sellers. Price not, pretend this is S&P 500. We need the S&P 500 to break above that 5950 to turn these CTAs back into buyers of the markets. And we're not having that, are we? We're pinned right now at 592.94 on SPY. So this is dangerous for bulls. I showed you that on this screen right here. If bulls can't begin to break higher here, we'll begin to do this sweep lower, right? And you'll get an amplification from CTAs wanting to sell as we head into the first week of March. Let's look at some other systematic flows in here. Vol control gang. I gave you a hold on here. I showed you vol control saying that they have a little bit more time in the market. They're supportive right now, trying to stem volatility. But as we get into the middle of March and April, they may once again become sellers for volatility to the downside. So it's not negative, or vol control funds are not bad for the market right now. They're stemming volatility, and we can see that currently. Let's look at the trigger screen again. We can see that vol control is doing its thing, right? We're still on trend. They haven't amplified downside moves, and they're likely to continue to do that, aren't they? Into middle of March, but watch out once we get there, right? You start getting that violence in middle of March, middle of April. Let's go to bottom right-hand screen again. Let's look at the real evil, or I don't know if I call them evil, but let's look at hold on, not context. Asset managers net. Yeah, we're looking for COTs. Now this is actually improving. This looks pretty good right now. COTs buying some of these dips here. So there's some improvements from the COT side. COT, or I should say, it's not completely negative. They're at least dipping their toes in here. But I would also warn you or caution you here. Let me show you this really quick here. Can I move that over just a bit? Yeah. Nope. Can I? Yeah, that's not working, is it? I need to do a better job of not cutting this off. You can't see this here. But what I want to warn you of is if we begin to break below, I want to say COTs will turn into sellers in a big way if we begin to lose support on the weekly trigger. I would say, though, that COTs are buyers right now. So unless we get this close between now and, let's say, the 3rd, let's take a quick look one more time right here. If we can't get underneath let's call it 5,800, 5,750, some kind of like new low. Like if we can't get down here and then catch a new low, COTs are on the buy side. CTAs are kind of sellers right now, but COTs are nibbling. They are nibbling right now, where CTAs are not, and they're more on the sell side of stuff. You really want to pay close attention to this whole area right here, 5,800, 5,750, because right now this is kind of bullish, getting kind of bulled up right here, boys and girls. I mean, unless I'm missing something here. I'm assuming that Rubner probably wants to see us get under there. Here's the 5th. Yeah, there's the 5th right there. There's the 3rd. Pay close attention to this coming into Monday. That's my assumption. And at least for right now, they're not getting that. They're not getting that low that they need. But they need to be under this. They need to be under 5,800, 5,750, and then they have to stay under it to trigger these COTs to become sellers because they're buying right now. That's who's doing the buying right here. So that's fascinating to see. I wasn't aware of that. So bulls have a little bit going for them. A little potential here. Now let's look at something else. Let's look at context. Let's look at the seasonality for SPX. I'm going to mute my screen too now. See if I can mute that, mute my camera. Hopefully it comes back on. And we're following trend right here, aren't we? And this is looking, it's pretty close trend, isn't it? Now, this one here is showing that one more leg down and then that squeeze higher, but it also shows that continued volatility to the downside. And that's what velocity is showing too. So Momo in the market showing the chance for another pump really quick into the first week, but then some real doom and gloom ahead for us. This would be the 52nd trading day of the year, and then I think this is probably the 60th trading day of the year. And this looks kind of common here. You'll often see the market kind of bottom, and then maybe one more. You'll see the market kind of bottom with single issues, and then you'll see the ETFs and indexes have one more capitulation, and we start going higher. The good news here is what? What is the good news here? For all the doom and gloom that's in the marketplace from now into possibly mid-March or even April, where are we to resolve to if we follow seasonality, right? You can't have a bear tell you, oh, look at this, bro. It's all following, bro. More down to come, Cap and, bull gang. Well, what about this? Well, no, bro, we're not going to follow seasonality after that. We're going down to the depths of hell. So it's like fitting a narrative with seasonality, right? Now, don't always trust seasonality. Seasonality is not exact. You can see here the market actually went down, and with seasonality had us going up, right? Then seasonality had us going down, and we went higher. So it's not exact. Don't be trying to trade seasonality. We could easily blast up here and then slam down into the end of April or middle of March, middle of April, and then into the 30th, start making our way higher. But for right now, I would be thinking about this whole season here as a chance to get long for potentially a massive move up into late summer, and then having a pullback down into mid-July, maybe some September bear here, middle of September, and then rip your face off move into the end of the year, into this late December. Let's go to, we could get back here to the main screen. I wonder if I'm getting actually sick. Can't tell if I'm just sick or if I'm just jet lagged or from flying or whatever. Gross. Hold on one second here. Move this over here. Hold on here. Get that over there. Get this over here. Give me just 1 second here. The multi-million-dollar question is if retail is coming back post NVDA. iBit and Tesla were the most sold assets by retail over the last week and are seeing a small bounce today in NVIDIA. I can't trade Tesla right now. I don't like the volatility with Tesla. I looked at Tesla, under normal circumstances, last week should have been bottom for Tesla. In my view, it should have been bottom, and then I watched the continued selling of it. And I posted something on Discord or on Twitter where I was like, this should be, in like 6 months, you look back on this time, that's the low. I wasn't willing to buy it. I can't trade Elon volatility right now. I can't quantify it. I have this. It's one of those things where he's talked about this too. He's admitted to this. He's like, I am a meme. He's said that in the past. And traders take advantage of that stuff. There's no other way to describe it. Traders take advantage of it. Bears take advantage of it. Bulls get scared. And so we see more violent price action in Tesla. As far as Tesla versus NVDA, I don't think they're comparable. I'm not a fan of this, like comparing. I don't think Tesla's a meme stock, or I don't think NVDA is a meme stock. NVDA reminds me of Apple years and years and decades ago. And we spent some time in the Discord a week or two ago looking up famous fin twitters who posted over the decades, like long time fin twitters that posted like articles pre-Twitter. Let's say like they're like a writer, and that they have a Twitter account, and then they've got the stories that they wrote about Apple decades ago. And they are right now writing articles about NVDA in the same vein that they wrote about Apple. This is a scam. This is a I don't know. AI is a scam. NVDA is a scam. It's a pump and dump. We're gonna pump it to the moon, and then once that happens, it's all over. You bought $10,000 worth of Apple back in the 90s and in the early 2000s. You're a very wealthy man today. Same people running the same garbage stories. So I don't think that NVDA is the same as Tesla. I don't know if it's quite Apple, but I'm not with this whole like the trade's never coming back to NVDA, or I don't know. It's going to zero. Whatever that conversation is that's being had out there. As far as Gamma, I've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA is sporting a 2% gains of pre-market, but the broader chip sector is only up 0.8% following yesterday's earnings release. Today's data is rather on the weak side with a sprinkle of stagflation vibes. Initial claims, 242K versus 222K expected, 220K last. GDP Q4 2.3% versus the 2.3% expected, and 3.1% last. Core PCE prices, we already know those. Core durable goods orders January month over month 0.0 versus 0.2 expected. Also rather not helpful after clarifying comments from U.S. President Trump regarding tariffs. Quote, Mexico and Canada tariffs on March 4th. China to also be charged additional 10% tariff on that date. April 2nd, reciprocal tariff date remains in full force. So, March, April, we start to wrap up finally most of the tariffs. We have to price that stuff in, right? Good time of year to do it right now, right? If you don't know this, you probably hear bears out there telling you that tariffs are going to ruin our economy. Tariffs are bad. All the shit I've read about tariffs, it's all wrong. Literally, it doesn't matter who's talking about it. It's all garbage. It's like the budget. I was reading the budget this morning that was passed, and it doesn't matter if it's like a Democrat-leaning newspaper, a Republican-leaning newspaper. There's just garbage being spun about it. So let's talk about tariffs really quick. I was in Chicago this week, and I read a story from Chicago. And sure enough, this was a story about the plight of a brewer. This brewer was interviewed because of tariffs, and he gave the sad story. He was like, oh, Trump's hurting me. We got these aluminum tariffs. 25%. There's nothing I can do. And that's what the story was about. Aluminum's going up 25%. And, there's nothing I can do here. And this guy was like, I'm going to raise the price of my beer by 25%. And he's arguing to you, the consumer. My aluminum is going up 25%. And I'm going to pass those costs on to you. And I apologize. And I was like, this guy's disingenuous. I was like, you got a beer, and the beer costs, let's say you're charging $1. And this guy's like, I'm going to raise prices to $1.25. Think about that for a minute. Is the beer can? Number one, is the beer can? Is the beer the beer? If I were to buy your beer in a restaurant with a glass, that's up 25% too, right? I mean, what does a beer can cost? Your cost of your beer can's gone up 25%, right? So that would not translate to you raising the cost of your beer by 25%, would it? Only the cost of the beer can. And it's a one-time hit, isn't it? Is the beer can going to go up in cost? No. It's a one-time hit. It's a one-time hit to GDP, and your beer should not go up 25% either, should it? Cost of your goods and your cost of goods sold is not going up because of labor. It's going up because of a material that you have to purchase. And not only that, but this brewer in this article did not even offer up a way to get cheaper aluminum or a different product. Didn't even talk about seeking out cheaper providers. Just said basically, hey, you consumer, fuck you. 25% increase in your beer. Blame the orange-haired man or whatever. And they were trying to spin that. And I was like, well, this is bullshit. This guy, number one, is likely, without telling you, he's going to go and try to get cheaper beer cans. And he's going to try to pass on inflation through greed to you. And if I were a consumer of that guy's beer, I'd be like, fuck you, beat it. And that is eventually what happens normally. What happens is people, or all these different businesses, will attempt to pass along tariffs to you as the consumer. The consumer will have nothing to do with it. I know that you think they will, but they won't. They will refuse to buy those products and services. We have examples of it historically. The first time that Trump had instituted tariffs, there was an initial pricing in of inflation that was not sticky. And corporations attempted to pass along those costs directly to you. Not only that, they tried to make more money. They're greedy. Companies don't fucking care about you. They don't care. And the more misinformation you have, the more disinformation that you have in front of you,